Australia is opening its borders to students, business people, and investors. With Australia's borders largely closed, there are limited numbers of people allowed to travel or return to Australia. In a move to try to return to normal, the Australian government are allowing more students, business people, and investors to enter the country. This has drawn criticism, as Australian citizens and residents have, and continue, to struggle to return, due to the current travel restrictions. In this video, we discuss the exemptions that students, business people, and investors can obtain to travel to Australia, ahead of citizens and residents stuck outside of Australia. But first, we want to thank you for joining us. Find us on all the other social media channels, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and click that bell to get notified when we release a new video. We also appreciate your likes and comments below, as it helps to support our channel. This video is brought to you by IAM. We believe that travel improves and inspires you and the people around you. We help you travel by providing services which overcome barriers and frameworks that simplify and enrich your experience. We just happen to be immigration lawyers. So reach out to your IAM visa coordinator when you're ready for your adventure, or already on one, and would like some assistance. Australia largely closed its borders to all non-citizens and non-residents on the 20th of March 2020. The Australian government also implements a cap on the number of passengers coming into Australian airports from overseas. This is to ease pressure on state and territory quarantine facilities, but this measure also left many citizens and residents stranded outside the country. It has been reported that over 1,000 international students have obtained exemptions to return to Australia amid the pandemic, with medical students forming part of the group. An Australian Border Force spokeswoman said, individuals seeking an exemption to enter Australia must provide evidence of a compelling case and meet exemption categories, which include students in their final 2 years of study of a medical, dental, nursing, or allied health profession university degree. Those students must also have a confirmed placement at an Australian hospital or medical practice that starts within the next 2 months. One university in the group of 8 had at least half of their 65 international medical students granted a travel exemption. The group of 8 comprises Australia's leading research-intensive universities. Group of 8 Chief Executive Vicky Thompson said, the universities had provided supporting evidence for students that fit the exemption criteria, adding that some 600 international graduates entered the workforce every year, but COVID-19 had caused serious disruptions. Rural, regional, and remote communities relied heavily on overseas student graduates from Australian medical schools. If medical students can't get back into the country, then this will impact the pipeline of new doctors into the system over the next few years, said Thompson. There will be a shortfall. There was also a risk that the intern system would not be able to handle the influx of international students when they returned, if they deferred their studies now. A Universities Australia spokesman said, some PhD students may have also received exemptions on the grounds they must return to complete research critical to their degree. The decision to allow a small number of international students to return to Australia sparked the ire of some. Labour Senator for New South Wales Christina Keneally argued that Prime Minister Scott Morrison's priority should be on returning the 40,000 Australians stuck abroad, instead of letting international students and business investor visa holders jump the queue. If Scott Morrison had implemented a national quarantine plan from the beginning of this pandemic, Australia would be in a position to safely welcome international students without their arrival coming at the expense of stranded Australians, she was quoted saying. International students have been campaigning for their return to Australia for close to a year. Over 17,000 people have signed a petition addressed to the House of Representatives, calling for international students' exemption from Australia's COVID-19 travel border restrictions. International students are willing to quarantine, obey any rules, and pay all the fees. We are willing to quarantine in student apartments and will not take any stranded Australians' places. Please allow international students who do not have online lessons and urgently need to enter Australia to study, to go back to their schools, and continue their education on a voluntary basis, it read. The ban on outbound travel, subject to limited exceptions, and international arrivals caps, to allow for 2 weeks of compulsory hotel quarantine, have been among the most controversial aspects of Australia's COVID response. Everyone entering Australia is required to quarantine at an approved facility, at their own expense, at a cost of around $2,000. It has been reported that the Australian government does plan to increase caps on overseas arrivals and is thinking of ways to expand quarantine capacity. What are your thoughts on this issue? Should Australia prioritise stranded citizens instead of international students? Talk to us in the comment section below. If you need assistance with a visa to Europe, the UK, or the US, including help with securing your travel arrangements, IAM can help. For visa advice, contact your IAM visa coordinator. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for more travel and visa updates.